Thanks for joining us for this second installment of jQuery 1.4 Hotness with Paul Irish. Today, I'm going to be going over some of the changes to a lot of the setter methods that are setting values into DOM elements, and also cover some of the changes to animation-related stuff. So, let's dive into it. Setter methods got some changes in 1.4 that give a lot of extra power. So let's just kind of review where we're coming from. Let's take an example, and basically we're going to turn an href. We're going to turn the value, in this case it's brand new.html, to brand new HTML question mark and a bunch of numbers. Basically, typically used as a cache busting technique. So the old way that we would do this is we grab that A tag, we run it each, because we're going to do this to a bunch of them, and we need to grab the current href value, and then we're going to append our new number to it, and then save that out to a variable, set it with attr attr again, and there we go. In 1.3, let me make this a little bit bigger. There was now the ability to pass a function into attr. So now we can actually just do this all in one single line. The return value of the function is set to that attribute. So ref is going to be set to this return value. So this is nice. But in 1.4, in this function that you pass in, the second argument of it will actually be the current value of that thing that you're about to manipulate. So the value of that href attribute is actually passed in, and so we can do this even shorter. The first value is the index value. So if there were 10 of these, well, there's only one, a foo, of course. So that's going to be 0, but it'd be 0, 1, 2, whatever. So this is the new setter. So let me give you a few examples of what we can do with this. For instance, we could this isn't bulletproof, fix the double float margin bug in IE6, right? So let's say we start off with a bunch of floated elements, and we're going to set the CSS, the left margin of these, to the current margin, right here, divided by 2. So we could do that. We could make some grammatical corrections, right? So take all these spans, and we're gonna change their text, and we're gonna basically replace something with another thing, and someone with another one, which I'm sure Stunken White, the manual, probably says that that's a good idea. Thank you, jQuery. So here we're going to iterate over all of our A tags, setting the HTML of those A tags to something new. If there's an ampersand in them, we're going to just wrap that ampersand with a span. And people typically do this so that they can put the ampersand in a new font, one with a very, very attractive ampersand. So there's some kind of use cases. Here's another one. It's the politeness plugin. So we're going to take all these commands, we're going to call be polite on them, which just basically goes in, takes a li, and then adds please and thank you to the commands. So it's kind of the thing that you can do with it. It's really nice because the alternative before for pretty much all of these methods would have been a big each loop, be 5 lines, and now we have that down to like 2-ish. So the methods that currently support this functionality where you get passed in the current value of what you have is all these ones: CSS attr, val, HTML text, append, prepend, offset, add class, remove class, toggle class. You can pass a function into all of these. In addition, there's also before, after, replace with, wrap, and wrap inner. You can also pass functions into these. These don't get the current value because there isn't really a current value, but a lot more power in all of these setter methods now. So that's something to check out. One last example here. We're going to take these divs and we're going to set random colors on them. So the background color, we're going to return a random color. This is a really short one-liner if you ever need a random color. And then the text color, we want to be something that contrasts nicely with that. This little snippet basically determines if it's going to be black or white, whatever is going to be more readable on top of that random background. So we just grab the current background color, get the contrast, return that value, and it gets set as the text color. So I'm sure that's useful, but this is some of the new stuff that you're able to do with this API. All right. Animation, there's a few new changes in 1.4. One of the really, really cool ones is per property easing. So easing, let me just quick pull up this. This is a nice little demo. James Podolsky is who's responsible for this per property easing. He's a very talented front-end developer and in the UK. And so easing is basically, it's just techniques of modifying your animation. And here's a nice little demo showing kind of what they can look like. So previously, you could only apply a specific sort of easing to your animation. And now you can apply it to each property that's going to be manipulated. So for our example, we're going to take an element, we're going to animate it. The left, we're going to modify with a swing easing, but the top, we're going to animate with ease out bounce. Okay, let me show you what this kind of looks like. So from our horizontal axis, our left property is linear. Was it linear? Swing. It's almost linear. And then ease out bounce for top. We have a new demo that just has a little bit more speed to it. So it's a really cool effect. I love that. All right. There's a lot of power built into this API. So for instance, in addition to specifying it in this sort of array manner inside the animate object, you can pass in inside the options object that goes into animate. You can pass in a special easing object where you specify for each property what sort of easing you want to use. You can also, for instance, in this example, we have specified easing quad for X, ease out bounce for Y, and linear isn't anything specified, so it just picks up the default easing that you specify normally. So that's kind of how that works. A more crazy example, we can modify, we can add 200 pixels to the current width with a swing easing, a linear easing for the height modification, put in a callback. So it works with all the bells and whistles that Animate already did. Delay is another new thing, and this is something that everyone's wanted to do. People have written their own little hacks before, and so this is a common one right here. I want to fade in a notice. I want to keep it up there for 3 seconds, and then I want to fade it out. So finally, we just have delay. People used to just do like animate the opacity to 1 for 3 seconds, even though it already was 1. Now we just have a really nice API for that. The great thing about this new delay method is that you don't need to use it with just animations. It can work with a lot of things. So here is what I'm going to call troll mode. One technique for dealing with bad users might be to slow down your application or your site for them. So if you deem someone as a troll or an unwanted person, you might want to make all the thumbnails that they click on load up the dialogue, the expanded version of that thumbnail slower than everyone else, right? So if they're a troll, we'll add a delay of, you know what, let's crank that up 5 seconds before we actually launch the enlarged version of that thumbnail. Otherwise, keep it 0. So this is a really flexible delay. ClearQueue is the last animation improvement that I'm going to cover here. And I'm going to show a demo because that's really just the easiest way for me to demonstrate this. essentially, ClearQueue is going to clear the queue of all the things that have queued up, naturally. The common example is animations. So you might have a sequence of animations that you want to happen, but there might be a reason that you want it to stop immediately. Or, actually, for that example, you can just call the stop method and it just quits. But you might actually want it to finish the current function that it's doing, but don't do anything that's queued after it, right? So here we have a demo. It's going to animate, and there's a few steps involved in this. It's going to go back and forth and up, right? I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to stop it. Now, probably not the best example because when I click stop, it actually clears the queue and it stops it. But alternatively, if this stop just cleared the queue, it would actually continue to finish the current animation that it's doing, but not do any of these subsequent animations. So it gives you a lot of power as far as managing sequential animations. Also, you can use queuing with things other than animations, and ClearQueue would work with that as well. So that's it for this installment. We have some more stuff coming up soon. So I'm going to be covering events with bind, how to use proxy, a little bit of event special stuff, and then some other great episodes. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you.